Of International Student One Health Alliance. So all these things, the last 3 years gave me some experience on um, how to manage projects, campaigns, events, several things. So when I was asked to talk today here, I decided to say something on this topic, as it's something I know better than other topics. Then together with me is Nabila. Maybe it's better if you introduce yourself to hear your microphone too working.
Hi, everyone. I'm sure that you can see me and hear me. I just want to say good morning from a very cold, very dark South Africa. It's about 5 a.m. right now. So thank you again. I'm probably going to thank you more than once during this presentation. I just want to say Andres and I are so humbled and so honored to be here with everyone today. I don't think I've ever been a session host for any kind of event with so many participants. So this means the world to me and Andreas. So as per my introduction on the slide, I'm the secretary and webmaster, or more informally, the social media person for IVSA SCO. So any of you guys who see us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, that's me over there. So you're welcome to say hi anytime at all, and we're always there for you. And from my national or local MO, I belong to IBSA South Africa, proudly South African. And I'm the vice president as well as the junior OIE ambassador. And I'll be chatting to you a little bit later.
So I'm moving to start now. So we have two words here, zoonosis and zoonthroponosis. I'm not sure if you have heard both of them. I didn't participate in all of the sessions. Maybe somebody mentioned that earlier. But here we have these two, I could say, Greek words. I will start with the first one, which is zoonosis. Zoo is animal in Greek, and gnosis is the disease. So we have animal disease, actually, zoonosis. And zoonthroponosis is zoo animal, anthropos is human, and nosos is disease. So we have the disease between animals and humans, the second word. Why I'm saying that is because there are very small things that maybe sometimes help, and we need to know. And the next word here in this slide is the knowledge. So I could start and stop my presentation like here. We need to make to create something is knowledge as students. Actually, the main question in this session is how students can share the knowledge about one health. So the answer is that one. Just get the knowledge. When you have the knowledge, then you can share it. So what we can do to get knowledge is to study, to read a lot, to get experience, and then to become doctors. When we have all these things, then we really have the knowledge. Until then, we're still trying to get it. We will never stop getting knowledge, but the most we have, the better we can spread the message. Then, yes. What is the message we want to share with the rest students? The question is, what do we want to talk about? When we have zoonosis, we can talk in general about the word zoonosis, as I did in the first slide. Then we can talk about a specific zone and disease, or we can talk about a specific part of the disease, just for the prevention, for example. When we choose one of them, then for sure we will talk just for something specific, but always we talk for we talk more broader. I mean, if we are going to talk about transmission of the disease, then for sure we will talk about the rest things of the disease, but we will concentrate to the method. And so how we can concentrate on the method is to repeat again and again the same method during our project. If it's a slide, we can say it many times. We have to say that in different ways, so we'll be sure that if a person didn't get it in one way, he will get it in the other way, especially for young kids, but not only. And we need to emphasize it as more as we can. For example, in this presentation here, from the start till the end, you will realize that the main message is the knowledge, the word knowledge, as we started before, and you see how we can repeat it again and again. Then we are going to the target group. We have a message, but we now need to see to whom we are talking to. So our target group, people could be like students from school, university, citizens, scientists, politicians, or anything other. Every one of them is very important, but we need to be careful when we are talking to a specific target group and how what is needed there. For example, if we are going to go to school, then we need the appropriate documents to be prepared. Maybe we need some permission from government or local authorities. We need to have the right contact so we can go there. When it's for uni, then things are easier because we usually university provide us some materials. They provide us the lecturers, plays. We have usually everything more easy to get done. But the hard thing coming here when we are going to talk to citizens, then from my experience, it's one of the most difficult things. You have to find a way to reach them. This is the most important. Uh, how you are going to find them? You're going out to the road and looking for them with papers. You're doing everything through social media. Um, it's different from place to place. You have to find it. You must have the experience of the place so you can do it. Then when it's for scientists, I think here it's more easier to find them because it's not many scientists. You can find them easily. It's everywhere their names. But the hard thing is here that if you need to share your message, it must be very high level because they have a lot of knowledge. And then when it comes to politicians, here again, the difficult thing is you can find how you can find them, how you can read them. Don't forget that every one of them is very important. We just have to follow different steps. We need to have the different contacts and the style of content. So let's see some examples here. This is a slide for One Health. It's created by Scovey, and it's for school people. We did this presentation in many schools here. What is the characteristic of these two slides, is that it's very funny because you're referring to kids, you're talking to kids. It's very simple, and it's very colorful. It's important things. It maybe seems very simple to everybody, but we always need to have this in mind. Um, yes, it's very colorful. This is important not just for kids, but for everybody. Then we have a policy statement here. You must probably have seen it again at the introduction of your event. It's created by IVSA and FMSA together. And here the target group was the policymaker and big organizations. So here we have something fully scientifically correct. It's not like when we're talking to kids. And here, when we were doing the discussion how we are going to make it look like, uh, our thought was like that it must be something simple, but very formal, because probably some politicians they are not scientists, so it must be simple in this way, but formal because you're talking about something very important and to politicians. And the other thought was that we must do it very quick. It was just 2 pages, um, because maybe politicians just take the paper and then they have the next paper and they want to do everything very quickly. So these are all things that we must have in mind. And then one more question is coming. I'm doing that locally, nationally, or internationally? All of them are important. Usually, as far as I can see from my experience, when you're doing something local, you refer mainly to individuals. When you're trying to do something nationally, then you are trying to do steps to maintain something, to make changes in your place. And when it's for international things, um, then it's difficult to make changes because you cannot easily reach national things and local. But you can motivate people. You can give them inspiration to do things locally and nationally. And the other important thing about international part is that you connect people um, with the same things that they like. I don't know the word now. So when you bring them together, they can interact and exchange ideas and experiences. Uh, what is better? What is bigger? One side or the other? When you start something local and you make it international, or you start something international and you go back and make it local? Um, so here, the answer is both. Um, so you cannot work locally if you don't have support internationally, and you cannot work internationally if you don't have support locally. For example, one of the main problems that we have when we work internationally is the language barrier, that we cannot reach every person. The second question is, what do we need when we have to decide the level? Um which is the main need we have on the message? Where should we concentrate? No worries for that. Just do it wherever you are. If you're working internationally, do it there. If you're working locally, do it there. Do it in your place. Do it in the best way you can there. Don't try to make changes in another place. If I was trying to do things locally, I wouldn't make my work. My work is to do it internationally, and then other people take it and do it locally. And then even more practical things: deadlines, roles, and sponsors. Big words. Um, So remember the number 1.5 is very important. When you want to start a campaign, start please at least 1.5 months earlier. When do you need to have it everything finalized? Please have it everything at least 1.5 week earlier. 1.5 month to start, 1.5 week earlier to have finished. Then you need to set some goals, some deadlines, as we say here. Try to set achievable goals, adjust them to your needs. How much time do you need to do the work? How much time do you have to do the work? So try to make your timeline. Then the next point is divine roles appropriately. Okay. Do we need to divide roles? My personal opinion is not. People know how to do it. They have it in their nature. We just have to find the appropriate people. When you have the right people, then everything is much easier. But for sure, practically you have to divide roles. So try to do it according to your people abilities and characteristics. What do they know? How can they manage situations? And put them in the right place if you have a team. Um, Very important when you manage such a team. Uh, Support them fully as much as you can, and try to make them support each other. It's very hard, and if you're doing just one project with this team, it's very difficult to connect the team that well. But try it because you need to like it. Like everybody must have fun in this group. And very important. Don't hesitate to say no. If you have somebody that is bored, it's tired, and they don't know how to do it, in the worst cases they fight or they are destroying things, try to say no. It's difficult sometimes for some people. Personally, I face this problem. I cannot say no to somebody. I cannot say you have to leave this project. Uh, have it in mind, sometime in your life you will need it. And the last thing here about roles, and ask for help if you see that you cannot manage your team or your project in general. Just ask for help. People usually, we young people, we are trying to do everything alone without asking for help, but we do really need it. The last word here is the budget. Yeah, it's important. Most projects really need money, but do we always need them? Uh, okay, I will tell you that a whole year passed that we work in scope. We did a lot of projects that you will see later, and we have spent till now 40 euros. That's all. So I have a feeling that it's not always needed, the money. Volunteering is very important. Maybe not just a word, is the word that we need in our age. I mean, when you are older, you need money to survive, but in our age, we're usually doing things volunteering. So use this word and move with this word. Some cases you cannot move in any other way. You just need money. So find sponsors, do campaign, do parties, do whatever you can imagine to raise some money. But sponsors is the easiest one. And when you need a prize, just have in mind that sometimes this prize can be priceless. So you can save some money this way. And then a very important part that I like it a lot about interprofessionalism and collaborations. What do we gain when we invite several professors from several professions or students from several professions? The most important that we get is the knowledge again. They can give us a perspective on our topic that we cannot even imagine that it exists. Um, so, for example, when we were talking on the previous policy statement, we needed to have both medical students and veterinary students to cooperate, so to have the appropriate result. We needed also to have perspectives from scientists from different sciences. So to have a complete full um, full good organized project. Um, the last point here is that they could help us with promotion. They will promote for sure when they participate to their audience. Sometimes their audience is different from our target group, but it will help a lot to make our project even broader. But I'm going back to different perspectives. Second point. Um, when we talk about zoonosis, it's the nature of the world that we have at least medical and veterinary sciences cooperating, at least. But let's go to specific example here that we have about rabies. When we have rabies, we all probably know that rabies is coming from wildlife usually. Uh, it's transmitted to dogs and then it's going to humans. It's important to know how to do it. And then we are coming here, we have the disease, and now we need to find the key method. The key method would like to be prevention, the word prevention. Let's see which sciences could participate on this project with this key method. When we need to do prevention, we want to do vaccinations to wild animals and to dogs. We need to set some policies. We need to have some help from uh, economist part to support all these things, mainly nationally campaigns. And for sure, we need some education to our target group, mainly to young kids. So when they grow up, they have it. So this is the scientists we need. We need at least one wildlife conservationist scientist, one veterinarian, one human medicine person scientist, some politicians to participate, economists, and some teachers to teach us how to educate. These all are very important. Um, yes, what do we gain from from this collaboration is the knowledge, as we said. But what do they all people get? Is also the knowledge and the experience of this collaboration is very important to teach each other and learn from each other. And when you have them all together, they really see the importance of doing things. And they can move then without you, but you have done the first step. I will move this at the end. I will tell you about WHSA, which is a between IPSF, IATS, FMSA, IVSA. Many letters which need explanation. So the World Health Student Alliance is the first word. Is a collaboration between the pharmaceutical students, the dental students, medical students, and veterinary students. So our committee had the chance to participate to present IPSA on this alliance. And what we're trying to do is to bring together all the healthcare sciences, uh, student scientists. So one big campaign that we did this year that you must probably have seen is the AMR week. And it was a very big campaign. And then we had one smaller like COVID campaign, but it was also very important. And now a chance is here for you, the last point. I don't know if all your MOs have received this application. Is a form that you can apply and find the rest organization nationally. We can bring you closer and connect you so you can do things nationally there. If you don't have this link, just send to me, text me, whatever you want, and I will share with you. Okay, last slide for me. It's some tips. As we said again, get knowledge, so you can share knowledge, the most important. Then when you're doing your project, make it fun, because probably it will be tiring. This 1.5 month will have some weeks very hard. So try to make it as fun as you can for you and your people, and because otherwise you will not survive whenever you have a work in your life. And make it funny. People learn better when they laugh. So try to make it funny. In my personal opinion, nowadays people really need to have some fun even during your presentation. So try to make it funny. And the most important, the last one, make it in your way. If you like it, then people will like it. So try to be creative, express yourself, and give something of yourself to your audience, to the world. That's all from me, and we're going to Nabila.
Okay, let me just familiarize myself here. Okay, Andreas, is it possible for us to just bring up that PowerPoint again, please? Yes, no? Sorry about this, guys.
Can you see?
Not yet.
I think I'm sharing my screen.
Okay, if anyone else is able to see Andreas's screen, just let us know in the chat box. If I don't see it, it's fine. I do have the presentation, so I can refer to it, but it's important that everybody else can see it still.
They can see.
Oh, okay. Cannot see. It's not showing.
Oh, why? Okay. This option is not working on my laptop anymore.
Okay, or let's see. We can figure this out.
Maybe you can share your screen also.
Okay, do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right, here we go. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Do you see the presentation now?
Not yet.
Okay, because it's telling me you guys can see it. I'm so sorry about this. Share content. Share screen. Okay, it should be there.
Yeah, it is.
Yay!
I see it now.
Thank you very much. Okay. Just opening up the chat so I can, okay, thank you, cool. Okay, guys, just a reminder as I go along, if there is any question, there's no question that is silly, there's no question that's too small, please put it in the chat, and as soon as I'm done, we can, I don't know if there will be time for a little discussion or for us just to answer some of the questions that you might have. Okay, so firstly, Andreas did a great job explaining what we're about and what we do. If you have more questions, you're welcome to contact us at any point to know more about IVSA SCO. I know that the topic of this entire presentation was how students can spread more awareness when it comes to to zoonoses. So my job as the secretary and webmaster. Sorry, somebody else is speaking. Please keep your mics muted if you don't mind. Okay, cool. I'm going to carry on. Okay. So let's just have a look. Okay, firstly, before I start, I want to just pass out a massive congratulations to the organizing committee for this. This is not a tiny little event. This is huge. So I couldn't, you know, when I was sitting on the SCO media, and then all of a sudden, bam, there was all of these media campaigns for this this conference. It was super impressive. So you guys must really be so, so, so proud of yourself. It's amazing. Okay, I think sometimes we underestimate the or we undervalue the differences that we can make as individuals when we come together. And this event that is happening is definitely no small feat. So well done. Okay, so as per my introduction, the most important part of what I do as part of this amazing IVSA structure is that I'm the webmaster and more informally, just the social media person of IVSA SCO's platforms on social media. So we run our Instagram account, like most of you know, our Facebook account, Twitter account, and recently LinkedIn as well. So what we're trying to do, let me have a look here. Sorry, I'm just checking my notes. This is basically just a short little, almost, you can even compare it to something like a little social media tutorial or in terms of how to disperse information, because that's the age that we find ourselves in today. And that's what people are about, especially when it comes to lockdown and COVID and stuff like that. We're not able to move as freely as we once could. So we're a lot more dependent on social media and other ways of getting information out. Okay, so if we're looking at the slide that I'm on right now, it says make a noise about One Health. One Health, and I'm not here to generalize at all, but especially where I'm from, in our senior veterinary community, One Health is seen as a sort of trending word or a buzzword because it's something that is relatively new. And we need to be very, very vocal about One Health, because One Health is not a trending subject, as many people do choose to believe. One Health is here and it's here to stay. So that's why I'm asking you guys, please, from all your MOs, from wherever you are, to make a noise about One Health. As a student, so as a student, I'm sure a bunch of you might agree with me. We all find vet school not the easiest academic course to go through, and there's always subjects that you find easier than others, right? So in the same way that you know, some are more challenging and some subjects might actually be a little easier to understand, this is dependent on two main things. Number one, the content. The content of whatever you're reading or learning about or being informed on is some content is easy to understand, some is difficult to understand, some to the lay person, so a person who's not studying what you're studying, might be difficult for them to understand, and some easy. The other thing is how content is presented, and that's very, very important, because that can make or break you, and it can make or break any kind of concept that you're trying to put out. So what I'm trying to link up here is that same way that you sort of see how things are presented at university or when you're learning about something, apply that same, like, you know, I wish that, you know, it was presented in a more fun way, in a more interactive way, in a more innovative way. Try to do that when you're trying to spread information when it comes to zoonoses and One Health. Okay. So we're all here, I'm hoping, because One Health is a very dear concept to each and every one of us today. I actually, in fact, want to call One Health a lifestyle and not just a concept that we learn about. Now, we have to bear in mind that although we may know a thing or two about One Health, others may not. And now the challenge, like I've been saying, is to figure out how to put this content out in the most effective way possible. So for us, sometimes as academics, as students, we think that facts are enough. So, you know, if you're talking about rabies, for example, or any other kind of zoonoses, you'll say, okay, but the facts are out there. Surely it's enough. I mean, COVID, for example, surely it's enough to say, you know, these are the dangers, these are the risks, this is what you need to be aware of. But there's that bridge you have to gap or build or move across between the content that you're putting out, the information that you're trying to spread, and actually making people connect with that. If they can't connect with it, unfortunately, that's the world we live in, where it's going to be very difficult for them to actually relate to you. Okay, so back to the slide. There is a fun side to One Health, as many people don't want to believe or don't like to believe or don't know. Like I said, it's just about how you present any kind of information. So you need to be smart about how you put information out there. And if I could summarize how to do this, there are 3 important concepts you need to look at. Number 1 is your content. If you don't know what you're talking about, you're going to end up in a very embarrassing position. So it's up to us, as literally anybody on any kind of platform. And the platform could even be something as simple as you speaking to a neighbor. You need to be able to say, I know what I'm talking about, and I'm able to refer you to a legitimate source of information if you need more information on this. So you need to know what you're talking about. Number 2, your content needs to be interesting. And I always think about it like, if I was on the other side of the screen, like today, not sure if I'm doing the best job, sorry, but if I was on the opposite side of the screen, how would I feel? What would I want? How would I want this information to be carried over to me from the presenter? So that's really something important. I know that sometimes academics feel that that is not on them to make things interesting. The material is out there and it's up to people to just understand. But unfortunately, that is not the age we live in. And the last thing for me, the most important factor is engagement. You can have the most content, you can have digital libraries of information, but if you're not able to connect with people and you're just putting things out there, it's a one-way street of communication, and you're actually just wasting your time a lot of the time. So just be careful about that and look for others who share your purpose, because it's through collaboration, and I'll speak about this a little bit later, it's through collaboration that we're able to amplify each other's voices. There's no such thing as a one-man team or a one-man island. And the difference you can make as a group, I mean, take this joint statement that Andreas mentioned earlier. That is proof enough that we can make a bigger noise when we come together than when we do things alone. And no project, whatever your way is of trying to put this information out, is too big or too small. I mean, look at this event that's happening right now. I can't even explain to you how impressed I am. And I mean, just the logos at the bottom of all your campaigns, you just realize like, wow, okay, these people are really making such a huge difference. Okay. So before I start fangirling, or I should start fangirling over here, one thing I will say as well that Andrea spoke about is planning of your content and how to put it out. Sometimes ideas are really big. And One Health, for example, One Health, we haven't even understood the concept completely yet. It's an ever-growing science. And what we need to do is break that up into digestible, smaller pieces for the public to understand, for our fellow academics to understand, because sometimes it is a lot. And in order to do that, it's sometimes helpful to plan sort of like a timeline, especially when you're doing events or you're doing campaigns. Plan and put things out regularly and put things out in volumes that are easily digestible. Okay, so like I said, no event or no campaign, no idea is too big or too small. Look at what SCO has done, and I'm not saying this to, toot my horn, because SCO is actually a group effort, it's a family effort. So it's about 15 members from across the globe. We have different time zones. This is the most challenging thing, I think, when you're working in a big organization like the IVSA. But having the challenges that we have, using planning and just general teamwork, this is a little list of just, a little summary of what IVSA SCO has managed to do. So you're welcome to ask us about literally anything on here, and I'll do my best to explain a little bit more about it later. But really, it's just to show you guys, like, it is possible for a little group of students to make such a big difference in the world. And through that, you start networking with different other student organizations and even professional organizations. There really is no limit. Okay. Next, earlier on, I said content. Let's go back. I said content. I said make your work interesting and engage. So with content, if you're not sure about what you're talking about, please, please, please do not name yourself as the sole authority for explaining anything. Please refer back. It strengthens your argument always to go and refer back to sources so that you are knowledgeable in what you're trying to spread out there. This is just a few examples of where you can get very good information when it comes to zoonoses. And you'll see at the bottom right, I said not limited to these, because with all of us getting involved in learning about public health, One Health, zoonoses, all of these related topics, what we find is the science grows, and we find that we have more groups and more organizations that are able to share information and put information out. So I'm hoping that in time this list grows from 4 to a lot more. Look at IZOHA, for example. IZOHA is a student organization, and they are also able, that IZOHA page is just busy as anything because they're just putting information out all the time. So yeah, just make sure that you're always able to refer back to a source of information that is credible. Okay, not Wikipedia, please. Okay, so so our current campaigns, IVSA SCO is busy with, hang on a second. Okay, I'm going to get back to this chat box just now. Our current media campaigns, we do a lot of social media campaigns on Instagram and Facebook particularly. I think you also have to figure out where your audience lies. And for us, that tends to be a lot more on those platforms than anywhere else. Holding lectures, like in a series of webinars, this has proved to be quite useful. And what I found is that where students are not super clued up on a certain topic, we don't get a lot of involvement. But once they understand what's going on, then there's a lot more keen interest. There's a lot more wanting to participate. So like I say, that also will be determined, your participation by how interestingly you put your content out, especially when it's a content that people are not very familiar with. Videos, I always feel, and I think I mentioned this to my SCO family, I said, guys, I think we should do more videos where people can see us face to face, because sometimes people don't like just chatting through text and comments and polls and videos, questions, sorry. So yeah, you just need to be aware and see what your audience wants from you. We also have our journals. IVSA publishes, we'll get back to that after I'm done, I think, our VPHJ, so our Veterinary Public Health Journal. And if I'm correct, we are on to our 18th issue now, where students are welcome to. The whole point is that it's your collaboration and your work that we showcase in these journals. Each journal has a theme, and it's to encourage that sort of academic writing, because we can't just go completely non-academic and onto social media and stuff like that without promoting academic work and wanting to simulate that environment that you'll be going into when you qualify. Again, I also want to say the options are endless. So we may have given like a list of 4 different options of how you can do media campaigns based on what we're currently doing, but I mean, that doesn't limit you. You shouldn't limit yourself. You might actually be able to teach IVSA SCO a thing or two about media. And I think I'd be very happy to learn from anyone else. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, I can't change my slide. Is this not working? Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay, so when it comes to projects, campaigns, and events, I'm going to echo simply what Andreas was talking about, and I put this little diagram on the right-hand side where it's talking about the SMART method of working through any kind of goal you want to achieve. And I would highly suggest that every one of you just take a picture of this little thing or Google it, and you can download the same image. you need to really think about what you're trying to do. Like I said, there's no goal that is too big or too small, but you need to be able to work through it systematically, or else you're going to end up with a lot more complications than you might have anticipated. So please, please, please be aware of this. Like I say, there's no goal that's too big or too small. Okay. The other thing is it also helps a lot, and I think you might have seen this on other One Health related campaigns or infographics or anything like that, where we're mixing the SDGs with the concept of One Health. And this is really, really important because I think it gives us a nice foundation to work off. And the truth is, I don't think that you can actually focus, and this is my opinion, I don't think you can actually focus on just one SDG. I think that you're going to work on one, it's sort of going to trickle or flow into another one, and so on and so on. So yeah, that's that. And what I actually wanted to talk about here is two campaigns that are very nice examples of different ways that you can work events. And one, it happened during the time of COVID, and the other happened pre-COVID, and that was like more of an event. So with COVID-19, for those who are aware, and I hope that a bunch of you are aware, IVSA SCO had a digital campaign or an online campaign where we had our different MOs or member organizations talking about what the situation was like in their country. And the idea there was not to incite or instill any fear in people and sort of make people stress out. It was to actually share and say, sorry guys, could you just mute your mic? Thank you very much. Just keep the mic muted. Thank you. Okay, so the idea here was that we wanted to, when you're under lockdown or whatever you want to call it, you're isolated, you feel alone. And the idea here was to share that we're all going through the same thing. And look, this is what I'm doing to keep my wellness up. This is how I'm maintaining my academics if you're doing online learning, and to share in that. So yes, we also shared a lot of COVID information that came from the sites that I mentioned earlier in a little PDF as well, part of this campaign. So it was academic, but it was also non-academic. And it was a nice mix of the two. Then I don't have that much time yet left. We're almost done though. There's an event, and this might be a nice thing. Those who know me know I speak about this initiative ad nauseum. It's called the Maverick Initiative, and this is something that started in IVSA South Africa, so I'm very proud of it. It's a medical and veterinary integrated community outreach initiative. So basically what the students at my university did is the IVSA and what would be like the medical students committee at our university actually came together, and they work on one location every year. And this is, I think, the third year that we would have been working with them. And so while the vet students go and vaccinate and deworm and dip and whatever else under veterinary supervision, the med students do similar checkups, eye tests, sugar testing, and whatever else they're allowed to do, also under faculty staff supervision. And what that allows is not only the chance for us to try to work towards this little One Health initiative, and it's just med and vet, so we're not there yet, but it's a good start. What it allowed us to do is to bring the two professions together, and we had a lot of the time the med students would be like, oh wow, I didn't know how this works, and the vet students would say, oh, this is interesting. And it allowed for that mixing, because what's really important about social media, what's really important about sharing information is not just giving the information out and engaging, it's networking. So if you can't network, then in order to execute One Health as best as possible, you need to be able to network. It's the only way you're going to take things further. Okay, I'm not going to harp on too much about that. Okay, so like I said, just last point I want to make before I just talk about how you can keep in contact with us and then check out the chat box, is a big part, like I said, of campaigning, of running campaigns, initiatives, and trying to spread information when it comes to One Health is networking. Networking is so important, and it's such an amazing soft skill to have, because you'll always know someone who knows a person who knows a person who can help you with something. That's the whole point of reaching out and forming this nice network of contacts. So what I suggest is when you don't share things just for the sake of sharing things. It doesn't help anybody. Share with a purpose. Ask yourself, member organizations, ask your social media people, when you have your meetings, ask yourselves, what is your why? Why are you doing this? What is your purpose? What do you want to get out of this? And that's how you can sort of start structuring your goals and using that SMART initiatives that I put up earlier. You'll never know when networking comes in handy. It's always a benefit. Also, the two more little points I want to mention is never, ever, ever underestimate how far One Health can reach into our world. It's not human, animal, environment, and end of story. No, it's education, it's social sciences, it's psychology, it's literally every single profession, I think, belongs to One Health. And that's where networking comes in, and that's where your media campaigning comes in. Reach out to someone on your social media and be like, hey, we want to chat to you about this. Do you know about One Health? Let's get a conversation going. The whole idea is to start conversations. And I think I had this conversation with someone else the other day, is we're not here to influence people simply into thinking a certain way. We're here to converse with them. We're here to talk to them, to hear what they say, because it's really, that's the only way. You're not here to say, oh, we are the authority on everything and listen to us. No, engage with the people. What do the people want? What do the people need? Okay, and the last thing I really, really want to suggest to everyone, and I know that there's a bunch of professionals listening, so I would appreciate your way in maybe, is please, please try your best not to get caught up in politics. It is almost inevitable, but please remember that us as doctors, as vets, as whatever we are public health protectors. We are public health servants. We are here to serve the public. We are not here to simply, make a name for ourselves in a certain field like One Health. And it's not about being the leading authority, guys. It's here about collaboration. It's not about competition. And this is very important because we become selfish with our knowledge. We become selfish with our resources. Okay, remember that we have a social responsibility and a civic duty to the people that are around us and the animals that are around us and the environment around us. Okay, all right. With that, thank you for listening. I'm going to run to the chat box because I don't want to take up much more time. Okay, somebody here has said, there's a question for Andreas.
Actually, we have a few minutes. Maybe it's better to ask Glenn and Anna say something.
Yes, sorry. Yes. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry.
I don't know if you could go back to the first to these two slides.
Yes, sure. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't know if you, Anna, could unmute yourself.
What's up, y'all?
I think we can hear you.
Okay. So my name is Anna. I am a part of the YouTube team at on SCO along with Glenn, who's also on this call. And essentially, a lot of this conversation has had a lot to do with kind of how we took on the position and how we think it's best to kind of like spread information about One Health. You really have to tailor your content to your audience, right? So you have to really know and understand what your audience is, and then create videos and content or content. Your content doesn't have to be videos, although that's my personal favorite. I'm biased though. You have to create content that your audience is going to want to watch. And honestly, I feel like one thing that I heard like brought up here and there, but I want to like really just talk about it directly, is like, ask your audience, like talk to them and say like, what are you confused about? What are things that you want to know more about? Like put out a poll or ask questions and get information from your audience, because like there's no use in going over information that your audience already knows. And if you have your audience invested from the start of the campaign, they'll be more likely to follow through and share content, become involved, and spread the word. Because they're like, oh wow, like my option was chosen to do this thing, or like, oh wow, I answered this question about a month ago and now they're doing a thing about it. I'm gonna follow through and see what happens afterwards. So, we talk a lot about, how to work with one another on our group projects and our teams, but in reality, we we tend to put ourselves in a little bubble and forget who we're doing this for. So talk to your audience, see what they know, see what they don't know, and then fill in those gaps accordingly. Because as much as we want our news to be spread all over the world, we have our we have the most power locally in our own schools and our own neighborhoods. So the more we can affect change within our own space, the more of a broader change will come about in the world if everybody just handles their own little part.
Thank you, Anna. So I will ask Glenn to unmute yourself and say something. He's also a YouTube creator. Here we have the creative people with us today. I don't know if you can talk.
Yeah. Hey guys, I'm
Perfect.
Glenn.
Just
Hey guys, I'm Glenn. I'm bringing you greetings from YouTube creators team for IVSA school, and within the year we have created a lot of educative and interactive content for students and all sorts of audiences, and we have created an interactive game on YouTube about antimicrobial resistance. I think you guys should go and check it out in your free time. And we also started a series called the One Health Vox Pop, which involved interviewing people on the streets and on their views on certain zoonotic diseases. So I think in your free time too, you can go and also check that out. Yeah. Thank you. And thank you, Andreas, for the opportunity to speak. Yeah.
thank you, Glenn. Sorry for that delay. Chiabaronzo, can you unmute yourself? Perfect. Chiabaronzo is part of our publication team. Yeah.
Thank you, Andrea. Good morning from Uganda. I'd say that our Scoho publication team has also done well, a great job. Thanks to Andreas and the committee. We've published our 17th issue. Andreas maybe but still doing much to do our next issue, and great teamwork. We are also focusing much on emerging infectious diseases and how the One Health approach, how we can be able to work with everyone. It's great to talk to you all. Thanks for the great work. Well done.
Thank you, Chiabaronzo. And then is Isa from Bangladesh.
Hello everyone.
We can hear you.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so my name is Serology Tests and I'm from Bangladesh. I'm acting as a project manager of IVSA school. The best thing about working as a project manager is that our all events. The events we are doing in school is very specific and awesome in their way. And the most important one, that the collaboration. We did so many events with IFMSA and IAS and the other student organization around the world, which makes the event more colorful, more awesome. So that's the best thing. And the one thing about IVSA school is the teamwork. And our chair is so much workaholic. I think that's a big benefit for all of us. And the last thing is that I'm very lucky to be a part of this team this term. And I enjoy our work in IVSA school, and I hope our event will help you more and more in near future. So thank you, everyone.
Lisa? I don't know if you have some questions for within the project.
I'm gonna, sorry, Andreas, yeah, I think you can check the chat box. Firstly, I just want to say thank you for the positive feedback. This is so great.
I saw a question about anthrax before. I'm not a scientist, but please never eat it. Just burn it.
Okay, guys, how do we locally collaborate with other medical student organizations? Can I please refer you to IFMSA? Andreas might be able to say a bit more about that, but they're a global organization, but they have local chapters, just like IVSA has local MOs. So you can always contact them and they can refer you to somebody that is in the area. Otherwise, you can also try what we do at our university is there's, the Faculty of Veterinary Science, Faculty of Business, and there should be a health science or medical faculty. Reach out to them via email, call them, whatever, and see how their student body works.
If you cannot find them, please contact us, and probably we can help you through IFMSA Global to find these local chapters. And actually, we can also find some dental student and pharmaceutical student in your country. So that just text us on any social media. We can bring you in contact with them.
And then there was another, I love this little comment over here. Thank you for it. It says, actually, I've been thinking about these lately as the One Health concept is basically human animal environment, but I think human behavior itself gives the largest effect. Do you guys think the concept of One Health should be broadened into it? One Health stretches very far. That's why I say we underestimate how far-reaching One Health actually is. It's not human animal environment. It's much more than that. So I agree with you, and there's a lot that human behavior trickles or leaks into environment and animal effects as well. So most definitely agree with you 1000%. I know that's not accurate. Okay, I think have we answered everything? Okay, the last thing is, sorry about this, guys. I'm just going to refer you to I'm closing this chat box now. I'm referring you to the end of this. Please remember, if you need to contact us, take a picture of this now. We have just like a minute left. Take a picture of this, reach out to us via email. We are very active on our Instagram and Facebook. There's LinkedIn, there's Twitter. Talk to us, go like our page, follow us. That's how you can get involved firstly. Secondly, for those in your member organizations, remember that elections are coming up at the SGA, at the General Assembly in September. If you want to run and you want to join our IVSA SCO family, this is the perfect time for you. So please, we'd love to have you on board. Fresh ideas are always great. I think Andreas can agree with me.
Yes, sure. We're waiting for you.
Okay.
So I think we are out of time. So it's time for the next speaker.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your
Thank you,
participation
everyone.
and congratulations one more time. And have a nice rest of webinar.
Bye, everyone. Keep in touch.
Hello everyone, my name is Nunin, President of IVSA Thailand. First of all, I would like to say thank you to IVSA Nepal for hosting this symposium and IVSA Asia member for giving you this opportunity. For the viewer who join us for the first time, this online symposium is organized by International Veterinary Students Association from over Asia, which consists of 16 presentations on various aspects of public health and zoonosis by renowned speakers from different parts of Asia. Now we are heading to the second presentation of third day in morning session and a 10 presentation on this symposium. I'd like to put a few instructions. If you have any question about this topic, you can ask the question on the chat box of WebEx or YouTube. After that, I will ask the speaker at the end of presentation, keeping the time limit in mind. You will receive a lecture code at the end of presentation for getting the certificate for this lecture. Please keep your microphone and camera turned off. So now, let me introduce a lecturer of this topic. Her name is Dr. Suchawan Phonsukhalom, a lecturer and head of Veterinary Diagnostic Center at Rachamankala University of Technology Tawan Ok in Chonburi, Thailand. She graduated from Chulalongkorn University, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine. The Ohio State University in USA, a Master of Public Health, and North Carolina State University, a PhD degree, Comparative Biomedical Science. Her area of interest is about focusing on molecular epidemiology to study foodborne and public health pathogens and detection of zoonotic disease. For now, it's time for Dr. Suchawan to lecture about milk-borne disease. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Can you see my presentation on the screen? Anyone can see it?
Yes, I can see it now.
Thank you, thank you for the answer. So thank you for the introduction, and I'm very welcome to come to present today in the topic of newborn disease and zoonosis. It's not a presentation, and I'm not give a lecture. It's just like we talk about this thing, we talk about this topic, and we can share the opinion together. I would like to clarify myself first that I'm not just informed about this presentation on Friday and have to give a presentation on Saturday or today is Sunday, right? Yes, it's on Sunday. Sometimes everything is not perfect. Everything is not perfect, but please forgive me and enjoy the presentation now. Sorry. I can't find. Oh, sorry. Is just a minute. Okay, let's start. First of all, we should see newborn disease and zoonosis. The importance of the milk and dairy product. I think everyone knows what the importance of milk. It's the best, cheapest, and the most complete of all food. It's the cheapest source of protein in all of food in the world. Everyone loves it. And good source of protein, carbohydrate, sugars, vitamins, and also the mineral. And it contains all nutrients required for the growth and development of a human, also as animal as well. And for the dairy production, it contributes to the agricultural income and national economy. The pie chart on the right-hand side, it shows the milk composition. Most of them are water, and the rest, just like we talk about all mineral protein and carbohydrate, also in fat and non-fat solid here, just a little bit in the composition. Here, this slide shows the milk composition that we talked previously. Protein, lactose, essential fatty acid. You can see that it's good for us, it's good for the growth and development and help our body to grow, to do anything else that we can work now because of we drink and got a lot of nutrients. As we love it, for sure that if we love it, all the microorganisms as well as the pathogen, especially the pathogen also love the milk also. Someone called the milk as the good media for pathogen to grow up and can cause a problem to us as well. That's why we call milk-borne pathogen, because it when we drink milk and we can have illness and infect all the pathogen from the milk. More than a milk, we know that it's a dairy product. Dairy is mean everyday, right? It means cow and everyday, right? Dairy product is the milk of milk, ferment milk, yogurt, cream, butter, cheese, casein, cassette, or ice cream. I think all of us will get used to of all these food, and someone love it very much. Me also, also love cheese, and that not only milk. Another kind of product can be the cause of our disease or zoonosis as well. Before we turn to the milk-borne zoonosis, I want all of you to get used to with the word foodborne disease. What is foodborne disease? It comes with that word, foodborne. Foodborne is mean foodborne disease is the food can contaminate with the pathogen or other microorganism, and when we consume that food, we can get the illness.
Excuse me, ma'am. I would
Yeah.
like you to share the you to share the PowerPoint, not the entire scene, because now the scene has
Really?
a problem. Just it has some blank on the scene.
Oh, really? Sorry. I share the screen, but I'm not sure to share.
I mean, could you share the PowerPoint, not the entire screen?
Just a minute.
Okay, I
Stop sharing. Okay, I will try again. Okay, I will try again. Okay, share.
just reshare screen and choose the PowerPoint option.
Is it okay for you? What do you see on the screen?
Yes, that's okay. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry, because I have two screens on my desk and I'm not sure which one is. Sorry for that. Thank you for telling me about it. Okay, we back to the talking. The food. Yeah, I want you to get used to with the word foodborne disease. You know that foodborne is mean like when we consume some food that contaminate with some pathogen or some microorganism, and this can be cause us have an illness or maybe be sick from the food. We call the foodborne disease. The contamination of these through the food, it can occur any state of the production, delivery, or any consumption chain. But it also can contaminate from the environmental. What is environmental? It means like soil, water, air, or any unsafe storage or any processing, bad processing. And it can be from human, from it's also. It's from WHO 2018. Everyone get used to with it, but right? So we move to the next chemical term, just like zoonosis or zoonosis. It's an infection that naturally transmits from the vertebrate animal to the humans, and also can be reversed from human to animal as well, are classified as zoonosis. Both of you get used to it to it, and then we move to our topic today, just like milk-borne disease or zoonosis. Milk and you can see it's subset. Milk-borne disease is a subset of foodborne disease and also the subset of zoonosis as well. Milk and milk product can harbor or can contain a variety of microorganisms. Something is normal organism, something that's just pathogen that's cause us illness. The pathogens are normally present in dairy animal, in cows, raw milk, milk product, meat as environmental in the farm. So milk-borne disease mostly acquired through the consumption of infect milk. What infect milk is can be contaminated milk as well as the raw milk as well. Milk-borne disease are both public health and economic importance. I think everyone understands this sentence because it can cause us have sick, have an illness and can be sick, go to the hospital. And it's called public health, and it can cause the daily production have failure, because if your milk has been rejected, you have no money, and the farm maybe failure and nothing left. Yeah, it's called economic importance. That's why this newborn disease and all zoonosis is very important. How zoonotic disease spread? It's a three rules of transmission that we very consider. It's a first one is direct contact. When people contact to the cows or any animal, livestock animal or our pets, it can be infected with the zoonotic disease. Another route is airborne. Now it's very popular word nowadays, airborne. When sneezing, coughing, or injection or we release something from animal and we contact it by airborne, we can infect the zoonotic disease. And also with the vector just like invertebrate animal, just bug, insect, mosquito, tick can be transferred zoonotic to people. And the last way that we talk about today is foodborne by the consumption of infect meat or milk. That's why we come to the topic today, milk-borne zoonotic or milk-borne disease today. This picture show the cycling of foodborne and foodborne pathogen that can transfer in the farm. The farm to transfer from milk to people. From the first one, we start with the A is the cow, right? So the cow gets some microorganism, get some pathogen from the farm or even from himself, because you know that some organism is normal flora in the cow intestine, but it can be boom and can cause illness or cause zoonosis disease to people and to themselves. We start with the cow, and when the cow is spread their pathogen, spread their organism to the via the feces, cow feces, to the environment in the farm, to the bee, the environment in the farm. And we collect of manure or of feces of the cow to the pond. It's called manure pond, or something that we use for biogas or something else. And some farmer spread the manure from the pond to the cropland. It means like for the agriculture land. Some people that, especially in the sustainable agriculture, they use the cow feces, swine feces, or any chicken feces as a fertilizer. It's called organic farm, right? To the for the fertilizer to the farm, and that feces together with pathogen to the cropland, to the farm, and all of the land is grow for feed animals, just like corn, cassava, or something else. And then we move all the crop for the feed to the animal. And the cow eat that contaminated feed and become infect again, go back to the cow, and the cow give us the milk in the milk tallow, and also from here in the G, it can be contaminated with the human pathogen here and with the milk, and go to the milk bank and come to the raw milk and dairy product, and finally we eat it and we get infect from those pathogens from the cows, and that we call milk-borne disease or milk-borne zoonosis. This is how the cycling of foodborne and veterinary pathogen around with the dairy farm. So we move to where is the sort of infection that can cause the problem in milk-borne pathogen. Just the first one is very just like the main character, dairy animal, just sure the cows. All the pathogen can become from the cow, maybe the feces. Most of zoonotic are fecal oral transmission, that for sure the organism come from the cows. The next one is a human handler, the workers in the farm. Most of zoonotic disease that can transmit from animal to human, and as well human to animal. The cow can infect some disease from human and transfer to their products, just like milk, meat, and when we consume it, we can infect those disease. And the next one is environment. For sure, when the cow spread feces, it contaminate everywhere in the environment in the farm, and it contaminate back to the milk, to the meat, to the cow, to the people. And yeah, environment is the best source for integrate everything together. Etiology. Many kind of things can cause the newborn disease. Just the first one is communicable disease causing microbe. It's just microbe, right? Virus, bacteria, bacteria, protozoa, and also parasite and their toxins. The next one is specific and non-specific sensitizing agent. This word is also come popular nowadays. When we do something like wash your hands, sanitizing agent, and biosecurity and disinfection in the farm is very important nowadays for biosecurity. So maybe some is left some residue in the farm and can cause the problem to the newborn disease and can cause the problem of antimicrobial resistance. And the last one is a toxic chemical, just from pesticide, preservative, drug, antimicrobial residue that I talked before, and radionucleotide and other substance. Most of them just like chemical toxic, right? But it can be cause the problem of newborn disease because it can be residue can be transmit from milk to us when we drink, and maybe sometimes the heat cannot be delete all of this residue from the milk. Now we know all the background of the newborn disease. Just what is newborn disease? Some technical term and the sort of infection, and also some detail. But now we move to the true newborn disease. Right now, we start with the bacterial newborn disease or newborn zoonosis. One of the most popular is zoonotic tuberculosis, and the most severe one. This one is the most infectious disease worldwide. It's the top 3, right? TB, AIDS, and another one is, I'm not sure what is another one is top 3 that who tell us the top 3 zoonotic worldwide is tuberculosis. This one can cause, especially in a developing country, tuberculosis still be the big problem in infectious disease. The most frequency one is Mycobacterium tuberculosis. This species can cause tuberculosis in human, the most popular one. But in the veterinary importance, it also have 3 one that come to the light. The first one is Mycobacterium tuberculosis. The reservoir is in human. The most reservoir is in human, and we can be transferred between person to person. It's mean like human to human transmission for TB, and from human can transfer to cows or any animal also. The next species is Mycobacterium Bovis. The originate reservoir is in cattle, in cow, right? But yeah, in human as well, and it can transfer reverse and backwards, just from cow to human, human to cow, and just we can cause problem from this species also. The next one is not as popular as the first 2. Mycobacterium avium is usually found in birds, main reservoir in birds, pig, but rarely in human, but it have a veterinary importance. If you see the infographic on the right hand side, you can see that human can have a TB. It can direct contact with the animal, the cows. Here is a cow. It can direct contact to if the worker in the farm has TB, right? Has a TB can transmit transfer the TB to the milk when he working in the milking house, and then he can transmit to the environment, contaminate the environment. The cow can be infected from environment or from the worker and transfer to the milk. That's why it's come to the cycle, and we can get the milk that contaminate with TB. Yeah. This infographic from the WHO say about the One Health theory that transfer between human, animal, and environment. This chain is just zoonotic from bovine tuberculosis and the tract. You can see we start with the environment here. It can contaminate with TB. We don't know if maybe from animal, from human, and the human in our dairy farm direct contact with those TB microorganisms from environment, infect, and then they transfer TB to the meal or meat, and then people consume those meal or meat and infect with TB. The people can be infected from wildlife as well, and wildlife can be transfer his TB to the environment and maybe to the livestock, our livestock or cow in our farm as well. It's not had this, I mean, the trend in Southeast Asia. I'm not sure, maybe some farm in Thailand or in Southeast Asia nearby the forest, and can be some wildlife to the forest. Someone can count wildlife, someone can count the pests, I mean rats or birds as wildlife as well. It can be just come to the farm and cause a problem and transfer TB or anything else to our animal as well. That's why we have to be worried about, or even our biosecurity is it good enough for our farm to for prevent TB to our farms. For that from here, we know if we can break anywhere in the chain, we can stop TB, right? If we can pasteurize the milk, heat to the meat, we can stop TB, or we can prevent our cow from infect any TB. We free of TB. Or the people not direct contact to the cow, check TB routinely. We free of the cow. One of the good way to prevent and control is tuberculin test. I think everyone gets used to with tuberculin test. It's just the test for the hypersensitivity for the purified protein of the TB. It's from Mycobacterium Tuberculosis complex, as well as the Mycobacterium Bovis, to purify as a protein, and we inject to the human or animal and test for measure to the swelling. Here, above picture show the tuberculin test in human. We inject the PPD, purified protein, to the arms, and then after 72 hours, we measure the diameter here. If bigger than 10 millimeters, it's called positive. But this one can be cross positive with the BCG. If anyone have a BCG injection when you are first day old, maybe we can show the higher than 10 millimeter. The below picture show the tuberculin test in cows. The left hand side is show the cervical test. We have the inject the M tuberculosis and M bovis to the cervical area of the cow, and then after 72 hours, we measure the diameter. It show the positive here, and this one is intermediate. It's a doubtful animal. And another one is on the caudal fold test in cattle, when we test to inject the tuberculin protein to the caudal fold. Yeah. And another way to prevent and control is for sure pasteurization of milk. Give the heat to the milk and in almost call of the Mycobacterium bacteria, and eradicate of bovine tuberculosis. Many countries apply this policy to their country, eradicate, but you know that eradicate is not easy. It's comprised of many sections, many departments together. Just maybe not only pasteurization, not only farmer, not only not only agriculture. It's also the policy in the government and the compensate. Maybe if you found anyone infected with TB, for eradication, we have to have to kill it, not keep it anymore, kill it. And we have to compensate the farmer. Maybe some developing country have not money to compensate to the farmers. It's not a good choice for many countries, but sometimes it's good for developed country or for the country that can compensate the farmer. Next one for epidemiological studies. Active surveillance should be routine. Active surveillance in both human and people. That can be help to prevent and control tuberculosis. Now we're done with the first one, the first popular one, tuberculosis, and we move to the brucellosis, another popular one. This one is also the most frequent foodborne disease worldwide, brucellosis. And I think in Thailand, it's just endemic area for this disease. We very get used to with it. So this bacteria, gram-negative bacteria, is important in livestock because it can cause abortion in livestock, and can cause necrotizing parasititis. Everyone know about it. Not only it can indolent fever and can be a zoonotic disease and transmit to people who contact with those parasititis or with those fetus, die fetus. The important species in livestock is Brucella militensis. This one is the reservoir. The main reservoir is in sheep, goat, camel, right? And the Brucella abortus is in buffalo, cow, and also camel. And Brucella suis is in pig, and Brucella canis is in dog. It's quite species specific, but most of them, all of them can be transmitted to people as well, to human as well. No, we just unlucky host, right? So we see from this picture, you can see we human in the middle of the picture. We can infect the brucella from direct contact to the cow, and to maybe sometimes this one is representative of the wildlife, and maybe sometimes horse. We have no idea what horse here, but we can infect as well. And we can drink unpasteurized milk or unpasteurized dairy product, cheese, old top cheese, and local cheese that no heat as well, and we can get brucellosis. So from here, you can see that pasteurization and fermentation can be a good way to stop the chain of infection and stop brucellosis to us. This slide shows how to diagnose the brucellosis. Most of you get used to it is with the best way to diagnose the bacterial infection is isolation. But most of you also know that it's not easy. It's time consuming, take time and take a lot of work, do every day and check a lot of, it take time. Maybe if we work in the field, in the practical field, in the farm, it's not on time. Maybe all of the goat dead already, we can help. Everyone is just that it's zoonosis and also the epidemic disease. It can spread to another animal, it can spread to people. So time consuming is not as good for this check. So that's why we move to serology test, that you can use serum or milk, just from the picture. You can use road Bengal test to test the serum with precipitation for the brucellosis antigen, and you can see precipitation on the positive reaction. And milking test, you can pull out the milk from the farm, and we can test for the brucellosis. This one can be just screening test. It's not as good as confirmation test at the isolation, but for the practical field, when we work in the field, it's good for us. For the treatment and prevention, for sure, education more, just both farmer, veterinary, people, milk house, and the people who process the milk. You should have educate them how to know it versus it, how to protect themselves, protect their cows, protect their milk. And heat treatment of milk for here is pasteurization or any UHT or any process that the milk industry use. But no vaccination in human. But fortunately, at least some vaccination in the herd. We usually apply the vaccination for the high-risk area. It can call Thailand is a high-risk area of brucellosis. And eradication program for livestock and continuous surveillance, active surveillance in both human and animal as well. So we done with the brucellosis. Move to the next one is the next one is comprised of any question? Any question? Any question? No. I continue. Okay. So the next one is comprise of many bacteria. It's just the family of Enterobacteriaceae. The name Enterobacteriaceae, it shows that it's from mammal intestine. It's normal habitat in intestine of animal and human. Any question? I hear something. Anyone you have a question can stop me and ask. It's okay. Okay, no. Enterobacteriaceae is bacteria that inhabited in intestine. Normally, they are normal flora, no problem, have no problem. But when we sick, when we sad, when we immunocompromised, it can boom and cause a problem to us. Not only infect us and cause a problem, it's also called a problem of antimicrobial resistant gene. This family of bacteria can transfer antimicrobial resistant gene to each other, also in their species and also in their genus, and also to another genus, another species. Maybe via the plasmid, maybe via the horizontal gene transfer that cause antimicrobial resistant problem very severe nowadays. This group of bacteria, the environment is the important reservoir for them. Just like Salmonella, I think everyone gets used to it. Salmonella, Listeria monocytogenes, Shigatoxin producing E. coli, or sometimes we call STEC, sometimes we call enteropathogenic E. coli, or Campylobacter, and Yersinia enterocolitica. Just showing the graphic here from the CDC. Yeah. This group of bacteria, we also call them foodborne zoonosis, bacterial foodborne zoonosis. It's not only contaminated in the milk that we talk today, it's also contaminated to the food as well. From here is from CDC 2015 food safety report. Those top six, our top six of the foodborne pathogens, just Campylobacter, E. coli, Listeria, Salmonella, and Vibrio, and Yersinia. We can see that for the Campy, is the rate of infection in population is 12 per 100,000 population worldwide. And you see that the rate of infection is increased around 9%. The next one is E. coli it's good. It look like it's decreased, because if you heard about this, it's very popular and get a lot of attention around 10 years before, around the decade before, because it killed one boy who is a hamburger with contaminated with E. coli 0157, and he dead. That's why this pathogen become very popular, and most of people study about it. Now it's still it's quite decreased. The next one is Listeria, and the next one, Salmonella. The rate of infection is 15. It's very high per 100,000 population. If it no change right now, no increase, it's good that it's not increased, but it's caused a lot of problems. That's why Salmonella is very most popular foodborne disease and newborn disease worldwide. And Vibrio still increase, but the rate of infection is not as much as other. Yersinia is no change. Our top six of newborn and foodborne pathogen. So we move to the very common foodborne bacterial disease, Salmonella. From here it include both typhoidal Salmonella and non-typhoidal Salmonella, or NTS. What is typhoidal Salmonella? Just like Salmonella typhi, Salmonella paratyphi. It's specific in people, but can be transmitted from people to people. It's not true zoonosis, right? It's not true zoonosis. It's just like person to person. It's just like person to person disease. It's not true zoonosis. But it can be by the foodborne, sometimes newborn. If you have a typhoidal, you sneeze to the milk, another one drink that milk, it can infect as well, but it's not true zoonosis. For the non-typhoidal or NTS, it's a true zoonosis, salmonellosis. For this, just you heard about it, just like Salmonella enteritidis, Salmonella typhimurium, Salmonella Newport, Salmonella Schwarzenegger, not much popular, right? Anything Salmonella Heidelberg, just like this one, they are NTS, is a true zoonosis because it's usually in the intestine of animal or in meat and milk, and it can be contaminated by fecal oral transmission from intestine of the pig, cattle or chicken to the meat to the milk, and we consume those food and we infect with this salmonella. Salmonellosis can cause diarrhea, cramp, vomiting, and also often fever sometimes. Consumption of raw and improper pasteurized milk and milk product can be cause infected salmonella. And the milk can be also disseminate the antimicrobial substance to horizontal gene transfer that I talking before. The next one is E. coli infection. E. coli is just a close relative of salmonella because they are in the same family, Enterobacteriaceae. Most of pathogenicity and how to infect is same like salmonella. Enteropathogenic and toxigenic strain. That's most of E. coli are good, are normal flora in our intestine and animal intestine, but some, just like enteropathogenic and toxigenic strain, can be lead to severe gastrointestinal disturbance and give a bloody diarrhea. More is a major indicator for hygienic, for fecal contaminate of the food production. If we found E. coli, it means that our hygiene is not good as well. You should be clean, you should be disinfectant, your milking parlor, your milk house, or your farm. For the most popular one is E. coli 0157H7 that can cause bloody diarrhea, that can cause severe diarrhea in human, become a major pathogen in both food and dairy industry. And now today, after we clarify all of 0157, we study a lot, we report off, then we try to prevent it. People turn to interest in non-0157 strain that show here 026, 0103, 0111, 014.5 here. Just move to here. These also be very common in dairy production and can cause diarrhea as well. It can cause the economy loss in dairy production and contaminate to the milk and can be transmitted to people. For here is same as salmonella, can transmit antimicrobial substance through the HGT or horizontal gene transfer by the milk, maybe by the meat, or maybe by we consume some food and we consume some residue of antimicrobial resistance. How to diagnose the Enterobacteriaceae? Yeah, it's biochemical and culture can help us. Just this group is Salmonella, E. coli, Campi, and Yersinia. Salmonella and E. coli just like use not as much as and difficult to the Campi. Campi use a different method to diagnose, but it's also use a biochemical test and culture as well. Culture is the best way for diagnosis in Enterobacteriaceae. But it takes time, as you know, maybe more than 1 night, 2 nights. After we can confirm, maybe take around 1 week. We can use differential and selective media. Differential is maybe specified for each antimicrobial, and selective is for specific for each one. It can show by the color right here. Chrome stick, agar, it can show when you grow. E. coli, it show one color. And for salmonella, you grow salmonella, it show another color. It can call selective media. Or biochemical test for confirmation. You can see from the above picture of TS Iceland, E. coli and salmonella, it can infect different kind of sugar and show different color here, and can be a ferment of some ferrous and can give the black one for salmonella, the black color for when we utilize the FE, immunoassay and set typing, PFGE or serology. PFGE is come from pulse fusion electrophoresis. Now it's considered as the gold standard method for study in salmonella. It can show the epidemiological correlation in salmonella. You can see that if we found some Salmonella in farm, it is the same as Salmonella as we found in the children that have diarrhea. Yeah, PFG can help you to clarify Salmonella from the farm and Salmonella from the patient. The children who have diarrhea is the same or not. PFG can help you to investigate what the infect in people. And also Meconium agar is a good media for Enterobacteriaceae bacteria. Now we're done with those bacteria and we move to mastitis. It's not a true, it's not a all of mastitis bacteria is not a zoonosis. As we know, mastitis is comprised of many kind of organisms, just like Staphylococcus, Streptococcus, Klebsiella, and Acinetobacter. But not all of them zoonosis, right? It can cause mastitis. It can infect cow, but some is not infect us. But some like Staphylococcus aureus or Staphylococcus intermedius, it can infect human. It can cause a skin disease or it can cause a foodborne disease in human. But I don't think everyone will unlucky to get Staphylococcus aureus, but it can occur. It can be guaranteed that we will save if we drink mastitis milk. So that's why the best way for prevent us from bacteria, zoonosis bacteria from mastitis is we not drink mastitis. It's easy because we can diagnose the mastitis milk from the color and the physical appearance. When we from the cow, we know that, oh, this mastitis. When we take the milk scan to test the composition in the milk, we know that when we have a lot of inflammation cell, we can say that, oh, it's mastitis. That milk should be rejected and we not drink it. And we should save from those mastitis and those some zoonotic in mastitis milk. For the other milk-borne pathogen, just viral infection. In this talking, I do not give talk much about the virus because it's not as frequently as the bacteria that we talked before, but we should aware of it. We should aware of it, just like some enterovirus, poliomyelitis. This poliomyelitis is very frequent in the pre-vaccination era, way before we invent the polio vaccine. Is very frequent. It can cause infect from people to the milk and infect the people who drink milk. But now when we have the poliomyelitis vaccine, this virus is not as frequently as before. The next one, infectious hepatitis. You know that it's zoonotic. It can person to person transmission. It can transmit by fecal oral transmission and foodborne, milk-borne transmission, just like especially in hepatitis A and hepatitis E. When someone have and we have food together, and we can infect Hep A, Hep E from the other people, that should be aware of this virus. But not in a hepatitis B and hepatitis C. It's not. It is just transplacental. It's just transplacental transmission, not by foodborne, not by fecal oral transmission. And the tick-borne encephalitis virus. This one is not popular in Southeast Asia and Thailand as well, but it's so found a lot in Africa and sometimes it's emerging in USA. That's why we come to talking about it. The diagram on the right hand show the diagram of the tick-borne encephalitis virus. Yeah, it's the vector for this is from the tick, and maybe some other insect, fly, mosquito, and use the intermediate host, and then transfer to our livestock animal and can transmit to us, and we can consume the milk or the meat that infect with those viremia. When the animal viremia with those virus, it can come to the milk and to the meat, and we can be infected from those. The example of tick-borne virus is like RVS, Rift Valley disease. VEE Western equine encephalitis or VEE Venezuela equine encephalitis. I'm sure that you not get used to with those because it's not our endemic disease. It's not found a lot, but should be aware because it can be found here. Everything change, it can be found here, and we have to be prepared for those tick-borne virus. Yeah, how to stop contamination, try to control it. We done with all the disease, we done with all the newborn disease, and then how to contaminate, how to control the contamination. Sure, first one, enhance the animal health. If the animal strong, animal good, healthy, they can give a good milk, they can give a good meat, and we not suffer from the newborn or foodborne disease. Improve milking hygiene, yeah, clean it, disinfectant it, and most of bacteria and virus can be killed by the disinfection. And pasteurization, good way for the milk. Do not drink the non-pasteurization, non-UHT milk, or consume some unpasteurized cheese, unpasteurized dairy product. Some local and some OTOP cheese, some OTOP dairy product. They not pass the heat. They not treat with the heat because they think it's healthier. Yeah, it's healthier if they know newborn pathogen, but we will die if they have something that pathogen in it. Active surveillance in both human population and animal population. And finally, education, public awareness. If we have educate, we know how to do with ourselves, know how to protect ourselves, know how to protect our family, our workers, and know how to protect our animals, and we can have a good feel, and we can have a good feel and can be safe from newborn disease and newborn zoonosis. These tables show the time and attempt for the pasteurization that approved by the US FDA. You can see from here. The next two slides show the infographic from the CDC about newborn disease, and newborn zoonosis. You can see that if we are healthy person, just like the people in around 20 to 50, we are strong, we are healthy. Newborn disease and pathogen cannot harm us. But the people who just like yopi, young, older, pregnant, and compromised person can be easily infect those pathogen, those newborn pathogen or foodborne pathogen. And what can we lower our risk to getting sick? Sure, consume pasteurized milk and dairy product, and refrigerate the product at 40 Celsius Fahrenheit or lower than 4 Celsius degree, and throw away the expired product. So we can save from newborn disease. And the last slide, I think, take home message. What you get from this talking or this presentation, just what is newborn zoonosis disease? What are the sort of newborn zoonosis and disease infection? And finally, how to prevent and control newborn zoonosis. If you get three of these points, it's okay for today. And thank you. That's for reference. If you want to read more, you can. And questions. Yeah. Done. Any, I can.
Thank you, Dr. Suchawan, for giving us a valuable knowledge. And now I will list about course of this lecture.
I can't stop. Sorry, I can't stop sharing. What happened? What happened? You are sharing. What happened? Okay. It's
okay,
stop, right?
Before question and answer time, I will list about code for get certificate first. The code is 07JFT9. Okay, now it's time for Q&A. The first question is, can coronavirus transmission occur by food?
From the I'm not a specialist on coronavirus or about virus, but from the news and some research show that coronavirus can transfer from human to animal and can be transferred to milk, but no report that who consume that milk and infect coronavirus. And I'm not sure if the coronavirus that's cycling in the animal population is coronavirus that cause COVID or MERS or SARS like us know in cow and only cause the problem in cow in the intestinal I would call it in diarrhea, cause the diarrhea and intestinal disease in cow, but not in human. It's different. It cannot be transmitted to people.
Okay. And
any question?
okay. And the next question is, which pathogen are more affect the quality of milk and how pathogen are react on milk?
Sorry, what are in the later what affect the quality of the milk, right?
Yes.
And another question is
how pathogen are react on milk? Pathogen react on milk.
As I know, some pathogen, I'm not sure what is it. Some pathogen can cause the composition of the milk change, just like some protein and mineral can be changed. The one that we see very obviously is mastitis, right? the pathogen that's called mastitis can cause the milk not want to drink and the physical appearance bad, and we can reject. And when go to the milk scan, we can see the composition is changed and cannot be consumed. Just like some is in the mastitis. The bacteria from the mastitis can be cause the can be lower the quality of the milk. For the other, I think that can be detected by eyes or by physical appearance or by smell. Some can by smell. Just like we don't know, just like some virus when contaminated in the milk, we have no idea. Is there any virus in the milk? It have to be go to the laboratory and test for it and reject it later and something like that. We cannot direct from our eyes or from our nose to detect is contaminated or not, or it can be yeah, you should rely on laboratory method. It's a good way. It cannot, so that why it's important to be pasteurized before we consume that milk, because most of pathogen can be killed or inactivate after pasteurization or UHT process. Yeah. Any question else? Any question else?
The next question.
Mm-hmm.
As raw milk is a source of bacteria like E. coli, Salmonella, Campylobacter, so is it possible for a person who ingests the raw milk to become infected with multiple infections at that one time?
It's possible. It's possible. But if normal healthy person like us, don't worry. I can guarantee sometimes it can be, but for the healthy person, it's not easy to infect. But it can be happen. It's maybe you can infect both of Salmonella, E. coli, and Campi. But I am not sure about it. I can say like it's possible. It's not as frequently as seen. It's not as frequently as seen. You can see just E. coli infection, Salmonellosis, and Campi infection, but not all of them. But it's possible. The one thing that can be easily transmitted by all of them is like antimicrobial resistant gene that can be transfer in both Enterobacteriaceae of them that can be transmitted in you as well. Yeah.
And the next question, is there any report about failed diagnostic using serology brucellosis because some diagnostic tools don't have 100% specificity and sensitivity. Because of this, it can be very can spread to humans.
For sure. Just Rose Bengal test and Mewing test is just screening test. You have to know first what is screening test is. Screening test is just screening. It's not confirmation test, it's screening. But it helps us to easier to work in the practical field when you want to know the result right now. Screening test help us. But if you want to get the confirmation result, you have to go to the lab again and wait for the culture, wait for the isolation from the Brucella abortus or Brucella melitensis. So it takes time. That's why and as you know, many report, many research report about the sensitivity and specificity of screening test of brucellosis, just like Rose Bengal Mewing test, is not as high as confirmation test for sure, but it helps us in the practical field. So finally, you have to go to the lab. Definitely go to the lab and get the true result later after you have a screening test. Yeah, many report by the government as because brucellosis is a disease in the Thailand Act. So that's why when we found, we have to report to the government, and many research is from the government have report about brucellosis. But I think everyone can search and can Google and can find many research from other country as well as Thailand. Yeah, it's sure. It's not. We can 100% believe the screening test of brucellosis, but it can help us in the working in the practical field at that time. Okay.
Thank you. And the last question is from Marcellus. She made an experiment previously on how many days does it take for milk to go bad for variety of milk brand, and the packets are left open for a few days. And to surprise one of the brand, it doesn't go bad at all. Although she do so many things to contaminate it, like spinning it, spitting in it. Does the milk doesn't have the nutrient that we and the pathogen needs, or that the sanitizing or processing of milk has turned the neutral in it? You understand what I mean?
I'm not sure, but it sounds like a specific research from one research group, right? And the commercial product right now on the shelf, I'm not sure what they add on in the milk, just like preservation or coloring or I have no idea because this is a secret for each company. I don't know. Maybe some product can tolerate or some product I have no idea about it, and I'm not professional in milk processing or milk science people or something like that. Sorry for that. I have no idea. Yeah.
Thank you.
Maybe we should read that paper and we can discuss about it later if you want. If you any who ask this question want, we can read and discuss about it later. Yeah.
Okay, so now time is up. And thank you so much for giving so interesting lecture today. And I will repeat a code again. The code is 07JFT9. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you. Bye.